I have some context to add to every single person that's mentioned inside of this video. We're talking about Tom Hanks, Ellen DeGeneres, Ricky Gervais, everybody that you've heard regarding the Epstein files has been mentioned in this summary video. We're going to go in depth, listening through and having our own discussions that you're not going to want to miss. So let's dive in, and they even give me a little bit of a feature from a previous video. Let's dive in.
You could binge watch the entire first season of Afterlife instead of watching this show. That's a show about a man who wants to kill himself because his wife cancer, and it's still more fun than this, okay? Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end, he obviously didn't himself, just like.
All right, so we've seen him before at the Golden Globes. He kind of exposes everyone. Tom Hanks looks at him funny, and everyone's like, okay, is Tom Hanks involved in this as well? We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but let's continue on.
Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care. You had to make your own way here in your own plane, didn't you? Right.
The Chris Tucker that we got now is Epstein Island Chris Tucker, not Smokey.
Even Chris Tucker's being pulled into this as well.
Oh, Lord.
The rumors are that Diddy was running some kind of Epstein type deal where he was filming everybody.
Yeah, and that's another thing. People are saying that Diddy was just a branch off of Epstein, creating his own little Epstein Island at his crib.
Jay-Z shot 3 videos on Epstein Island with supermodels that were under the age of 18 that were provided by Naomi Campbell.
Provided by Naomi Campbell, under 18 people in the videos. Now, being in a video is one thing. There's nothing wrong with being in a music video. There's nothing illegal about that. But when you put the minors on Epstein Island, provided by Naomi Campbell to Jay-Z, it's just too many things that are being connected.
Cat Williams is calling out Hollywood celebs who are leaving the nation after being exposed by Ricky Gervais. During the Golden Globes, Jer stepped directly in front of Hollywood's finest celebs to give us a little clue about their links with Epstein. And the response from Tom Hanks convinced us that the comic wasn't lying.
Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end, he obviously didn't kill himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up. I know he's your friend, but I don't care.
While all these persons have disclosed their association with Epstein, some significant celebrities have discreetly begun leaving America. The first name that pops up is Ellen DeGeneres.
Now, we have talked in depth about Ellen DeGeneres, and you're about to see a point where they even reference my last video on it.
In a 2009 email given to Epstein, a Hollywood publicist recalled seeing her dancing at a party in St. Bart's. The data also contain automatic collections of tweets from her old talk program delivered to Epstein.
It wasn't framed as cruelty. It was framed as tradition.
You worked for Ellen as well.
Yeah, I did the first 2 years on that show.
And she
was rough. She was the C word. Yeah.
All right, so she was the C word. Everyone knows, it's no secret that she was harsh on her staff, to the point where people actually hated her that worked with her and hated working with her. That came out years back. Doesn't relate her to Epstein, but many other things do.
Ellen has moved permanently to the UK, presenting this as a lifestyle choice. But Joe Rogan and Tim Dillon feel she is using it as a tactic to avoid being exposed for her business ties.
I agree. When you think about it, she decided to leave the country, first of all, when Trump came into office, and she utilized the Trump's coming into office. She's anti-gay rights, or he's anti-gay rights and all of that. So I'm going to leave the country. Great cover, actually, for leaving the country with your wife, going and buying a bunch of real estate, which you then flip and make a ton of money from. But in actuality, it was also the same time that Diddy was becoming exposed and that the Epstein files sort of came and rose to be, which she knows that she was implicated in. So why not use the Trump coming to office as a cover for her to actually leave the country and not make her look like she's trying to run away from any of her illegal activity?
They're going to find the thing if you don't go away.
A lot of people saying that someone who seems so nice is not nice at all.
She doesn't seem nice, but that people have a very poor judge of character. She doesn't seem nice. It seems forced.
But Ellen isn't the only star suddenly packing her bags. Richard Gere, whose name appears in an email addressed to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, we recently heard that Richard Gere was frantically trying to sell his home, his mansion, even lowering the price to try and leave the country.
Sold his Connecticut property for a loss of $50,000.
Okay, $50,000 is not a lot of money to lose when you're talking about the millions and millions that these mansions cost. But at the same time, it's going in that direction in this market, especially with that type of a house, is kind of unheard of.
After the transaction, he too departed the nation to relocate to Spain with his family. Eva Longoria has also transferred her main home to Spain and Mexico. Reports suggest she wanted to sell her Beverly Hills house. And what got people's attention was that she decreased the price many times to move the property.
Exactly. And why do you decrease the price of a property? Because you're in a rush to leave that property. Why might she be in a rush to sell her $19 million property? Because maybe she was worried about getting herself caught up into something. And I'll be honest with you, it's really crazy. The longer that we wait and the more that we hear about regarding the Epstein files, the more names that get pulled into this and the more names we could sit here and talk about.
On the other hand, Leonardo DiCaprio's relationship to this entire affair is a case study in social grooming. Records reveal DiCaprio having booked meals with Woody Allen. Nun Ricky Gervais's Golden Globes monologue also mocked DiCaprio's dating habits, especially his preference for younger women. Cat Williams views the phrase as a signal to the younger demographic that Epstein and his social circle reportedly targeted.
Leonardo DiCaprio attended the premiere, and by the end, his date was too old for him. So
there is a big decline in Jay-Z's social media followers too.
Yeah, Jay-Z and Beyonce, they lost a ton of followers. We know that he also went kind of missing for a while. He did return, and I'm just waiting for him to be heavily dropped into the spotlight.
And he was referenced in the Epstein files along with musician Pusha T. But more crucially, there is an alleged FBI tip exposing Jay-Z for participating in misconduct with many women back in 1996, along with Harvey Weinstein.
Of 50 Cent posting Jay-Z, Harvey Weinstein appearing in the DOJ's latest Epstein file. Keep in mind also Pusha T. And 50 says, I know I'm late on this, but it's kind of crazy. What do you do to get thrown in that mix? You guys won't see it, but Pusha T liked the post. People even comment, they said, Pusha T liked this post. I'm dying. Yeah, Pusha T actually liked this post. I don't know if I can search it, but yeah, he does. He liked the post.
That's strange.
I see Pusha T liking this.
Jay-Z has maintained a public position of success after the rejection of a civil action surrounding those claimed instances. But this demonstrates his strong ties with the industry's most renowned offenders. The 1999 recordings of Lance Rivera are also being studied as proof of the high-stakes atmosphere in which Jay-Z worked during the same years Epstein was establishing his authority. Cat Williams argues that the recent quiet from Jay-Z's team is a defense against the leaked list being public. He's staying low, hoping it all simply goes away.
And we've also discussed that here. That's the best PR advice that you're going to get if your name comes up in one of these is going to be quiet, it will brush over. Unless if you're someone that's coming and saying, yes, I'm in the Epstein files, and this is the reason why. I published an article that was shared within these emails, and I had nothing to do with me actually being on the island, but they were talking about my article that I had published. Or, yes, I was invited to the island for some business whatever opportunity, and I was doing a presentation, and after my presentation I left the island because a lot of business did go on the island with some of these figures, and then these figures would be kind of dragged into the illegal activities that went on the island. But I think if you are innocent, being honest is the best way to go about it, or else there's going to be a ton of speculation. And if you're not innocent, you're going to see people being quiet, and you're going to see a lot of people being quiet that maybe are innocent as well.
You know what the #1 job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job.
I always blamed myself. Even though intellectually I would say to other kids, I would speak to people and say, oh, the child is never to blame. You're never responsible for station in your...
Oprah was a whole conversation in herself. I mean, she's been accused and people are curious that she is involved in actually bringing children to these type of networks. The school that she has over in Africa has girls that have been mistreated in many different ways, has had girls gone missing, speculated that they've been sent to some of these, let's just say Epstein Island for the lack of other specificities right there. She's not innocent in any of this either. And again, we discussed her in another video.
Life, I still believed I was responsible somehow, that I was a bad girl.
Oprah Winfrey is likely the most anticipated name in this entire issue because of the role she played. She has exploited her huge media power to normalize and legitimize persons who were subsequently exposed. Harvey Weinstein was a co-producer and investor in the Broadway production of The Color Purple with Oprah. She was actually earning money with him. Similarly, John of God, the spiritual healer she notably supported, was eventually jailed after more than 200 women came forward with serious claims.
Yeah, so for context here, Oprah Winfrey was promoting John of God to many people on her show, to friends and whoever, to go to him for spiritual healing. What ended up happening was he got 400 years in basically life in prison because he wasn't spiritually healing. He was taking advantage in ways that you could imagine with girls ages 6 years old to 69 years old. Basically just completely taking control of their bodies.
He was with people in which I admired dearly. He was with Naomi Campbell. He had Oprah Winfrey there with him, who entered the room and was swinging off his arm and just seemed like a very dear friend. And these, like Oprah, Naomi, Rita, and Georgina, they all sat at his table. And for me, you know, meeting Oprah was like, oh my God, like I would have thought that I would have to be someone who's established, who everyone would have had to know about before I was privileged enough to meet someone like Oprah.
So what's being said right here is Oprah Winfrey was sitting with Harvey Weinstein at a table at an event, and this actress here, or singer, I honestly don't know, she felt as if this was all safe company because they were with Oprah. They have the Oprah's stamp of approval, when really Oprah is leading people into these pedos' hands.
So that gave me so much confidence in him at the time when he approached me. I thought, obviously this man has something amazing in store for me.
Images show her among Epstein's inner circle, implying that her public image served as the ideal cover for the industry's darker parts. By offering a platform to these people, Oprah made it hard for victims to come forward. According to Cat Williams, this trend is precisely what people should be paying attention to, since behind all these talks is Epstein's private plane. Kevin Spacey made travels on the Lolita Express in 2002 and 2003, going to Africa and Asia with Bill Clinton and Ghislaine Maxwell. Chris Tucker was on a 2002 Africa vacation. Naomi Campbell was a regular passenger on the plane, functioning as Epstein's claimed handler.
Gotta wonder. Now, obviously, they were going to Africa to do business-related things. We heard Bill Clinton talk about that. We heard Hillary Clinton saying that he was there doing charity work over in Africa. May very well be true. But with all of that charity work that was going on, were there other things with all of the names that you just saw pop up in this video?
These folks were part of an intimate social circle and understood precisely what was going on.
Probably.
Their celebrity profile offered cover for preserving flight records that were related to transporting Epstein's victims.
Trust me, he's going to walk. There's a bunch of high-profile people that are connected to this.
Yeah.
They're covering it all up. If he goes down, they go down. So he's not going to go down.
If you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world.
Ricky Gervais's Golden Globe speech was a tactical deployment of truth. He openly addressed Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein by name to shatter the rule of silence that has sheltered these predators for decades. And he did it in front of the whole industry, in their own home, and they couldn't do anything about it. What made Gervais unusual was his approach.
What made you think, you know what, I'm just going to hammer him? I don't care what the...
Well, I thought... when they said, do you want to host the Golden Globes, all that stuff I said in the show was true. I said, I'm going to write my own jokes, right? And I thought, who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room or the 200 million people watching at home who aren't winning awards, who aren't millionaires? And it was a no-brainer. I was doing it for them, you know, and I didn't want to... It wasn't set out to hurt their feelings, but it was... If you're going to make it a spectator sport, then you better have something... There better be something in it for the people at home.
He didn't whisper it. He didn't sugarcoat it. He wrapped it in jokes and shouted it to their faces. And now, with celebrities staying quiet and names appearing in the e-files, some are asking, was Ricky warning them all along? Because
Yes.
if he was, ooh, this becomes very, very serious.
Ricky Gervais made the funniest joke about diversity at the Golden Globes.
We were going to do an in memoriam this year, but when I saw the list of people that had, it wasn't diverse enough. No. It was mostly white people. And I thought, nah, not on my watch. Because I know in the real world, in normal jobs, everyday life, you get in trouble. People tell you off for saying certain things or thinking certain things or even laughing at certain things. They say you're bad for laughing at that. And some of you take it to heart. You go, oh my God, am I a bad person? No, you're not. One, you can't choose your sense of humour. You can't, it's involuntary. And two, that's exactly what humour is for, to laugh at bad.
For years, Ricky Gervais has intimated that something darker has been hidden underneath Hollywood's glossy facade. And now, individuals online are pointing out something weird. Big names are progressively stepping back. Ellen DeGeneres apparently migrated to the UK. Sean Carter lost over 10 million followers virtually overnight. Tom Hanks has gone abnormally silent.
But Tom Hanks it was confirmed that he was not in the files and that he was laughing out of discomfort because of the topic, not because he had done anything wrong. I'm probably going to do a follow-up video on him specifically.
Oprah, who once dominated daytime television and seemed present in every family, has significantly drawn back from the limelight. To some observers, it doesn't appear random, it looks coordinated. Then there's Ricky himself. Long before any of this became regular discourse online, he stood on the Golden Globe stage in front of Hollywood's elite and gave warnings wrapped in humor. He insulted the ceremony, told the audience they should stay home and watch *Afterlife* instead, and made it apparent he wasn't there to impress anybody. At one point, he cited the famed financier and simply indicated the official tale of his dying didn't line up. The atmosphere got tight, but Ricky didn't flinch.
Some of these AI videos are so annoying on how they just voice them over, but at least we can use this as some fuel to kind of give more context, a human context on what's actually happening. My question to you is, out of all the names, and many names were mentioned here today, which ones do you think are guilty and which ones do you think are innocent?